Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again where I venture off into a competitive setting and sharing all of my emotions, thoughts during my games with all of you. I have a chess tournament coming up from April 14th to April 18th, just like I played in January, just like I played in November, here in New York City. In this video, I'm going to take you through what that tournament is, give you a little bit of the background of the players, and at the end of the video, timestamps are going to be on the video player in case you're like totally not interested in the first part. I'm going to share my recent progress, my training, and a recent game that I won against a really strong player to kind of show you how I'm in form. So, I'm actually not playing a GM norm round robin. I'm actually playing in a lower section because I'm actually too low rated. I lost so much rating. Here I am right here. I lost so much rating in the most recent tournament that because my rating decreases the average rating of a section, they have to find even stronger players. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to play in a section with some strong 2300s, high 2200s. It's an interesting I am norm round robin section. Some of these players are competing for I am norms. There is a Grandmaster here, David Chess. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Now, if you're sitting there wondering, wait, Levy, I thought you became a GM. I highly recommend you go check the upload date of that video. Listen, I understand that many of you are like supporting me so much that some folks actually missed the fact that totally was not a serious upload. The requirements to become a Grandmaster are extremely hard. They are totally still the same. And the point of this tournament is not for me to get the norm, but rather to gain some rating, like to play well actually in a tournament, because my most recent one was such a disaster. So very balanced from top to bottom, like, I mean, wide range, but quite balanced, like 400 points. Link is in the description. A couple of very strong matchups here. Yeah, I mean, let's just jump into these players. So like I said, there are 9 games against this field. And normally what the title players do in these events is they just draw each other and try to beat everybody else. I'm actually going to be playing for a win in all 9 rounds because I have to. I mean, can you imagine? I'm going to make a recap. Oh, I drew in 5 moves. Be proud of me. So yeah, let's go through the games. And by the way, don't feel silly if you missed the joke. I am still very much an international master. A lot of people actually did, which I guess means that it was supposedly a good joke. But I will not be making such a joke again because I understand these are important matters for many of us. In the first round, I'm playing Hirsch Singh. He is I believe he's a high schooler. I don't know much about the guy. I looked at his repertoire. Very solid. Like against d4, he plays d5, and then he plays e6. So he has just about the most boring repertoire imaginable. He doesn't like take the pawn. He doesn't play a Nimso Indian. He plays the Queen's Gambit declined. And if I go for this position, he might play a Rogozin, or he might play the most boring opening on earth, which is the Queen's Gambit declined. So this is gonna be an annoying game to start, but it's good to get it out of the way. I'm not going to be going e4, but obviously, you know, my repertoire consists of these 2 moves. I think against c4, he plays e5, just mainline stuff, so we might get, you know, if I decide to go for an English, we might get a 4 knights, and then I'll have to decide between e3, a3, g3, d3, or queen a4, and, you know, Botez Gambit. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens in this game. He's currently playing in the high school championships. I earlier meant to say that I thought he was finishing high school, but maybe he's in 12th or 11th grade. So maybe we'll have a boring old Queen's Gambit declined. In the second round, it already gets spicy because I'm playing the Grandmaster. I'm playing David. Now, again, like I said, under normal circumstances, people just make draws. They don't really struggle to beat one another in these sections because nobody's competing for much. I've played David many times, and I do want to play him in a competitive game, give both of us an opportunity to win. David likes to play d4, and he also likes to play knight f3. He's capable of playing anything. I mean, he's played e4 and c4 as well. So how do you prepare against the guy that can play anything? I don't know. You probably also have to play everything. So I'm going to be working on a couple of different openings for this event after d4. Obviously, I can't say which ones in case for whatever reason he watches. And people tend to watch. I remember last tournament when Ivan beat me in Fantasy Karo Khan. He said it actually came from a suggestion in one of my own videos when I said to beat me by playing the fantasy against me. So who knows? Maybe David is going to play e4, c6, d4, d5, f3. I have no idea, but I will be prepared this time. So yeah, I mean, knight f3 is what I expect. I historically haven't scored that well against this move because I'm always trying to do some wild stuff. I might go for g6, bishop g7. I might just play it normal with d5, and then maybe David will go c4, or he'll play d4. But I would expect, you know, a position that looks probably like this in the first 4 moves. Although David does play the Catalan, so we might get a Catalan, and then I'll either have to take big risk to try to beat the Catalan, or just be solid and hope for the best. In the third game, I'm playing white against Justin Lee. I've never heard of Justin Lee in my entire life. I don't know who this is. This is like a random kid. He's rated 2100, and we're going to play a game against each other. And it was also very hard to prepare for him because, again, these young players, they don't have tons of games in the database. So, you know, if I play d4, maybe he'll play knight f6, e6. I think I vaguely recall seeing a game against d4. Yeah, c4, e5, just the same as the same as Hirsch. But the thing is, when you find these kids, if you don't find their online accounts, you only find like 2 games over the board. You don't know what they're going to play because they're always learning new stuff. So again, the first 2 games I have with white are sort of a wild card. In the 4th round is when we start going up against the big guns. I'm playing Nico Chasen in the 4th round. He's I don't know how old he is now, maybe 15, 16, maybe 17, maybe he's 8. I have no idea. But I feels like I've known him like my entire life. He's always been kind of a prodigy in the New York scene. Nowadays, prodigy loosely means you become GM at like 13 years old, but he is very good regardless of not becoming GM at 13 years old. I also didn't do it. We've played a blitz game before. He beat me in the Marshall Chess Club in a tournament. I think I've also beaten him once, unless I'm completely misremembering, and I think he even has a positive score against me in online games. So he's very strong. Yeah, he plays knight f6, e6. So he has a very classical repertoire, and you know, he's gonna play a Nimso, or he's gonna play d5. Yeah, again, I would imagine that this would probably be the opening position, unless I'm feeling frisky and I play, you know, bishop g5, or I try to go for a Jobava London, or I don't know, Botez Gambit, just like in the first game. So this is a huge game, because again, he's around my rating, and to gain points in this tournament, which is the entire purpose of me showing up, I gotta win this game. I have white. This is my 3rd white in 4 games, because I get 5 whites for the entire tournament. So yeah, this is a huge game against Nico. So hopefully at this point, 3 wins and a draw against David, or a win, 4-0, just undefeated, undisputed, 2022 New York Spring Invitational IMC Group champion. That's the plan, anyway. In the 5th round, I'm playing an interesting player. So I've got the black pieces against this gentleman with the scariest name of all time. The more letters you have in your name, and the more Soviet it sounds, you know, the scarier. Konstantin Dolgitzer. 2199 rated player. Now, the funny thing about this gentleman, he's a bit older. I looked up his games from 2002 to 2020. 2020, yeah, there's no games. 18 years. This man did not play any database games for longer than some of you have existed. That's insane. And if you look at some of his games, he played Hikaru Nakamura in 2001, Fabiano Caruana in 2001, back when they were kids, basically. I mean, they were teenagers. It was kind of nuts. He played some of these guys. He didn't beat them. They beat him. But, I mean, it kind of makes sense. They became, you know, top players. Yeah, the thing about Konstantin is, like, it's just really hard to predict what he's going to play. I looked at some of his online games. I think recently he's played knight f3, d4. You know, he plays, like, d4, knight f3 stuff. So this will most likely be a queen spawn game. I highly doubt he comes in with king spawn. Too much theory. d4, knight f3 is what I'm expecting. Very unpredictable game, just based on his online and over the board games. Because, like I said, I mean, the guy he's not really in the scene. What are you going to do? Not really there. So, yeah, that's my 5th round matchup. In the 6th round, I'm playing against someone who's probably, oh, I apologize, I have white in the 6th round, probably the most active player in my section. This is Gabriela Antova from Bulgaria. And, yeah, I don't know what to expect from this game at all. In the sense that, she, like I said, she's been playing a lot. And her openings seem to be changing. Like, the only consistent thing that I found is that she plays Sicilian defense, but even in the Sicilian, she could play d6 or knight c6, which are completely separate of each other. I looked at some of her games. Against d4, she's played Queen's Gambit accepted, she's played Queen's Gambit declined, and she's played Queen's Gambit declined Slav defense. Yeah, I mean, it's basically gonna come down to whether I play d4 or not, whether I play d4 or c4 for this game. If I play c4, you know, she might play e6 d5, she might play c6 d5, or she'll play something completely different, because it's quite clear that after d4 she likes to put a pawn in the center, right? So against c4 you might play c6 d5 or e6 d5, or you might play e5. I don't know. So it's, you know, I haven't done much beyond just scanning her openings briefly, kind of seeing her playing style. She's very confrontational as a chess player. I remember she played a tournament in Charlotte. I think I was there back last fall, and I think she had 5 wins and 4 losses. Like, she didn't draw a single game. So again, this is a game that with the white pieces, I'm really coming, you know, I gotta win this game. And, you know, hopefully at this point, we have, we got 6 out of 6 or something. Or maybe not. Maybe we won't have 6 out of 6. But that's the plan. Plan is to beat everybody. So d4, c4, probably going to be one of these defenses with a pawn here, unless, you know, she takes on c4 or she does something completely surprising. In the 7th round, I am playing a gentleman, I believe from Bosnia, Vlado Jakovljevic, and he's an international master flying in from overseas to play the event. And when I open my man's database, he plays the move knight f3 on move 1 all the time. Like, you gotta pay this man money not to play the move knight f3. He always plays knight f3. And what I don't understand about people who play knight f3 is because if I play d5, he doesn't even play the ready. He doesn't play the ready. Against d5, he will make it a queen's pawn. So kind of like Konstantin, like if Konstantin plays d4 knight f3. And I was like, why? Because he doesn't go c4. But here's the thing. If you play c5, he doesn't play a Sicilian. If you play c5, he's going to go c4. So he plays a ready English. But he doesn't play c4 move 1 because he wants to avoid e5. That's actually why people play knight f3 instead of c4. Because they want to avoid the main line, which is c4, e5. They want to, you know, they don't want to let you put a pawn in the center. The drawback is, of course, that black can play this. And if you play c4, they can go d4. And now, you know, this is a completely unique type of position and structure. So against knight f3, I'm going to have to figure something out. You know, maybe we'll have to go for a queen's pawn. Maybe we'll have to just play something where he gets to put a pawn on c4. I don't know, but I know that I'm going to sit down this game. We're going to shake hands. I'm going to start his clock. He's going to play knight f3, and he's going to ask, why is your hairline so bad? So yeah, I mean, knight f3 is what I'm expecting. Now, in the 8th round, I'm playing against Vincent Umayan. I don't know anything about Vincent. I know that I think I know that he's from New York. I think he is, I think he's a chess teacher, but that could be completely wrong. And he represents the Philippines. So like, you always need multiple countries represented in any closed event, because that's just the rules. You have to play a minimum of some people, a minimum of 4 people who are not from the host federation. I don't know anything about Vincent. I mean, I looked at, I think he has 4 games in the database. I haven't researched to find if he has an online account anywhere. Probably does. But this is a total wild card game. So really anything can happen. Really anything. I do outrate him. I'm not underestimating him. Players from the Philippines really like to attack. They tend to play very aggressive and interesting chess. They don't play this, this game is not going to be a Queen's Gambit declined. Okay, so no disrespect to my QGD practitioners, but he'll probably come to fight. And we end the tournament on a very interesting matchup. So I'm playing Bak Ngo. I don't know if that's how to pronounce his last name, but I like his first name, named after the musician probably. Bak is, I think, also a high schooler. We are different in rating by 2 points, and he is very actively competing as well. Now, the interesting thing about this matchup is that he might be in a norm situation. So he might have done so well that he needs just a draw to make a norm against me. I don't know if I'm going to give it. I don't know. I think I would. If he just needs a draw, I think I would just get him the IM norm. If he has 6.5 out of 8, because to get a IM norm here, you need 7. But I don't know. You guys, spring allergies, excuse me. You guys can tell me in the comments what you want me to do. You want me to try to beat him, even if he only needs a draw? I don't know. But it's going to be a cool matchup, and he has also the same repertoire as Vlado. So whatever I play against Vlado, I'm going to have to think about what's going to happen in this game. You know why? Because Bach plays d4 on move 1, and if you play d5, he plays knight f3. So we might have the same exact position after the first 1.5 moves as I have in my other game against Vlado. And I might have this exact same position against Konstantin. So it's going to be really tricky. It's going to be tricky because if I play one interesting line against one guy, next guy's going to be prepared. So it's weird in these tournaments because you know what color you're playing. You know what all your opponents are going to play. So it's not simple at all. All right? And that's the tournament. You know, Bach is a player that I really want to beat, but again, it's a 9th round game. Anything can happen before that. This is a huge game. This game against Nico, like this is a huge game. Also good, you know, to start solidly against David, to not like have like a dumb loss in the second round with Black. But the game against Nico is very important. The game against Gabriela Antova. So I have this like streak of games with White where I just have to assert the dominance, and then I have to be solid with Black. But I can also play for a win with Black, obviously. Now, if I have a bad event here, my rating is gone. It's absolutely, they're not only not going to give me GM, they're probably going to take IM and FM from me. So a little bit of pressure, but you know, I want to see how it goes. And I want to give you a little bit of an update because I have been playing some more active Blitz recently. So this is my growth chart of 90 days. I started the year just 2,700, and then I slumped. So at the beginning of March, middle of March, I actually went, I think for a game, I was below 2,600. And this is important to share with you because, it's really bad and it's really frustrating when you're playing so poorly. And I know some of you experience this as well. It's not just a matter of losing a game or 2 or 3. I tend to sometimes fluctuate by 200 rating points. And now over the last less than a month, I've gained almost 200 points consistently. I am now currently 2765, but I am going to share a game with you, which I played. Oh, I apologize. I just went back to my stream overlay. Say hi to the stream. I didn't go back. I've never done this actually in a YouTube video. Anyway, say hello. Let's go back to the YouTube overlay. Oh, look at that. You should follow on Twitch, by the way. But not if you're under 13. Parents, don't let kids watch on Twitch. Crazy over there. Recently, I played this game against Sanan Shurgirov, who is a top 40 rated GM in the world. Top 40 in the entire world. And you see 2807. This game, I actually got up to past 2800. So from 2608 to 2807, 199 rating points in about 2-3 weeks. So don't worry, slumps come and go. I feel like I'm playing myself in form, and this was a game, part of a match that I won 3 out of 5 games against a top 40 rated GM. So we had and again, it's Blitz, doesn't really matter. We played a complicated opening, which resulted in a messy pawn structure for Black and definitely an advantage for my opponent. And I lined up my rook to his king. He played rook d1, solidifying his center, probably going to crack it open as long as he can get a bishop into the game as well. It's very important I don't let him put his bishop on g3, bishop f4, bishop g3, then he blocks my attack. He has good control of the diagonal. So I spent this game trying to open up my bishop. He completely shut it down, but he did give me the center square. And then I gave him my c7 pawn. So I let him take my pawn on c7, and then I played bishop a6. So I sacrificed the pawn, and my intention here was to try to create a little bit of counterplay on his king side. The problem is, this doesn't work at all. He goes back to g3. I continue to try to do some stuff over here, but he's doing a good job defending himself, right? I mean, he's doing a decent job of defending the position, but he plays a little passively. I think it would have been slightly better for him not to kind of reroute here and lose a little bit of time, because this allowed me to get an h pawn into the game, bring my bishop as well, And now I'm doing very well. If he plays knight d6, I could just put my king in the middle, completely safe, and I'm going to try to double up. So I managed to actually make some coordination happen despite my pretty dumb-looking position. And then here I came up with what I thought was a fascinating idea, which was king f8. And the idea of king f8 is I avoid knight checks. I'm going to put my king on h8. So like again, I'm going to do something like this. Put my king on h8, and then double my rooks, and all my pieces are going to get into the game. So king f8. He goes back to d2. We trade queens. And I play bishop e2. And catch him with a nice tactic here. I take his knight, and I pin his bishop to his king. And my attack crashes through. Now, I'm not going to be playing such absurd openings in my tournament, but it was nice to win 3 out of 5 and get back over 2,800 against a really, really good player. He didn't resign here. The game obviously continues. But here he had to be wary of the fact that this was a threat and go danger levels, you know, try to counterattack my rook. And the game would have went on. I won his bishop, but he, you know, he fought back. My bishop is also pretty terrible. And the way I won this game was I cracked at the center, and I pushed my pawn. He at some point needed to commit some defense to my pawn, right? He's got to go make sure it doesn't become a queen. And now I activate my bishop, and this is very bad news because now the bishop comes to c3, teams up with the rook and the pawn. We put that rook straight to e1, and he can't get close. He just can't get close. So he tries to throw a couple of pawns my way. I get my rook very quickly to the e file to threaten to go there. He proceeds to try to sneak a pawn through. I'm like, now I have time to take the pawn, and I'm still going to go down to the back rank. And I traded b4, b3 check, and he just can't stop 2 pawns at the same time. So we get a queen, and he resigned on move 54. So this was part of a 200-point comeback in recent weeks. So I am in decent form. I'm going to spend the next few days reviewing some opening ideas for the tournament and playing some blitz, doing some tactics, and hopefully getting back over 2,800 because right now I'm 2,765. As always, folks, appreciate it if you made it this far in the video. When the tournament does start, I will be making recaps, and there will be some sort of sale probably we'll do on the courses for the duration of the tournament. Yeah, and again, if you were bamboozled and run amok and led astray by my April Fools, then, you know, I apologize. But be warned that there will be another one in 2023. I don't know what it will be, but we'll do something. Appreciate your support as always. Thank you. Honestly, it means the world to me. I read through the comments. It's incredible to see how many people are following this journey. Hopefully in this tournament we pick up some rating, and hopefully you enjoy. I will see you in a video tomorrow. Get out of here.